Today, I'm going to be showcasing exactly how any player can hit diamond rank in Valorant in just 30 days. If you remember, I actually did this challenge a couple of years ago on PC where I played Astra only with comms completely muted. I recorded every game that I played and did commentary throughout those matches so I could tell you guys exactly what I was doing to get those wins. The logic with muting comms is that you guys say your teammates never listen to you, so why should mine? But the problem that many players complained about is that even with comms muted playing Astra, I still had better mechanics than everyone in that rank. Of course, it would be easy for me to climb because my mechanics were just that much better than the other players. So this time I wanted to repeat this series, but with a twist. With the release of console Valorant, I wanted to pick up a console and learn how to play so I could accurately teach you guys how to play the game. With the influx of new players to Valorant on console, it only makes sense to not leave you guys hanging. The problem is that I haven't played a console shooter in like 15 years. The last time I touched one was Modern Warfare 2 when it was originally released. Since then, I have lost all of my console skills. I don't really know how to aim using the analog sticks anymore, which has basically rendered my aiming skills useless. So this challenge isn't just about hitting diamond, it's also about doing it with mechanics reset to 0. The big questions we're addressing are, how long will it take to get back to diamond with just game sense alone? And then how much do mechanics actually matter in Valorant? Once again for this climb, I'm going to have comms muted in my games as well. My teammates can't hear me and I can't hear them. This eliminates any advantage from teamwork and showcases that it is possible to hit diamond based on your own skill alone. Along with this, I'll be recording every game that I play with play-by-play commentary during the matches, walking you through my thought process in every single game. Sounds good to you guys? Well, let's get into it. So first things first, starting out with this challenge, I had to pick an agent. And I'll let you guys think about it for a bit. If you were to pick an agent and you had the worst mechanics in the world, who do you think would be the best to climb as fast as possible? Some of you might say Omen or Brimstone. Maybe some of you say Killjoy. I actually ended up going with Cypher. He is incredibly powerful and easily one of the best agents in the game right now. The reason that I picked him is because you can get a lot of free kills using his tripwires if you just know where to place them. Like, take a look at this funky tripwire I used on Ascendant to grab a free kill in one of my matches. This tripwire is freaking crazy. Nobody expects it. I saw one cool trip from TikTok and now I'm pretty much guaranteed at least one free kill a game every single time I play Ascent on Cypher. There's something really crazy about playing these agents when you know what you're doing. Despite having zero console experience, in my first few games, I was able to top frag pretty consistently due to the fact that I just know stuff like this. If you know how to optimize your utility and you have good game sense, it literally just gets you free kills. For this reason, if you're in the ranks below Diamond and looking for an easy way to cheese yourself a few free kills, I highly recommend picking up agents like Cypher, Killjoy, or even Deadlock and abusing their abilities. I mean, that's what I did for a lot of these games after all. However, I quickly noticed an issue. When you play these setup reliant agents, you end up relying on your setups a little bit too much. It's sort of like a band-aid fix to the real problem. Confidence is a major factor in the game, and you need to learn how to take fights dry without using your utility. If you can't build up your aim and your mechanics, you're not going to stand a chance in this game. After all, at the end of the day, it is an FPS game. So while I wouldn't steer players away from agents like Cypher and Killjoy, I would highly recommend that new players try picking up duelist type agents as well and practice taking fights. When I realized that my mechanics just were absolute dog, I switched to playing more Phoenix. This forced me to play more frontline and not shy away from gunfights. Not only does it help me aim better, but it also gives you the confidence to know that you can make plays like this. Playing too passively in low elo is a massive issue. You're playing in a rank where you will get punished the least for your mistakes, and even then you end up being too afraid to make mistakes. But you'll never get better at the game if you don't force yourself to take fights. Mechanics are so important in Valorant, and if you're not willing to improve yours, it's going to be a tough road ahead. To encourage you a bit though, it might actually help to hear that mechanics aren't all about aim. At least not the way that most people think about aim. What I ended up realizing is that much of the deciding factor in these gunfights actually does just come down to crosshair placement, how you peek the angle, and when you peek the angle, and not so much how well you move your crosshair after peeking. In fact, the winner of a lot of gunfights is practically decided before the fight even takes place due to all sorts of factors. Your utility, your positioning, teamwork, game sense, the weapon that you have. These are all reasons that despite not playing a console FPS in 15 years, I'm still able to top frag in my matches. I don't know how to move the joysticks and my corrections are terrible, but I do know how to play Valorant. I know how to swing the angle correctly. I know when to swing and where to put my crosshair before I do. These are all things that transfer over from PC. And if you've mastered the fundamentals of the game, it doesn't matter if you're playing on controller or mouse and keyboard or even a tablet. You're going to find it surprisingly easy to frag out. And if you're not there yet, that's okay, because it's not too tough to learn. Over at SkillCapped, we've designed an hour-long masterclass that dives deep into the mechanics of Valorant and how you can get Immortal level aim no matter how rough it might feel right now. Our course dives into everything that you need to know, from crosshair placement, how to peek angles, how to play off of your teammates, and even how to practice on your own. And not only that, but as mentioned, we are also posting a course to the site, including all of the games that I played during this climb to Diamond, including commentary during the matches as I walk you through my thought process in each and every game. That's right, you get to hear a top 2000 level player explaining their thought process carrying throughout over a dozen matches, and how I adapted to console mechanics despite not playing a console game in 15 years. And if you're just curious and want to check it out, it's no worry because we literally offer a rank improvement guarantee. So if you don't climb, you don't pay. That's our promise to you that our service works. So if you're looking to rank up this act, be sure to check out SkillCapped using the link below for a discount. But now it's time to get into something that helped me dramatically during my climb. And it's really quite simple. Once I realized that my aim was worse than a stormtrooper, I had the realization that I kind of felt like I was jumping back 4 years ago to when I first started playing Valorant. Your aim just doesn't get good overnight, and if you really want to have good aim, you've got to put in a bit of practice. I've repeated these same things in my videos for years because they're true, but honestly, I don't personally practice as much as I should because I don't have the same aspirations that I used to in Valorant. I'm not pushing for Radiant, and I don't even stream anymore, so there's not really any reason for me to practice my mechanics as much anymore. But on console, dude, I sucked, so I needed to lock in and actually start practicing. Now, naturally, the first thing that I tried to practice was my strafing, but honestly, that felt really funky on console. Strafing is definitely really important, but I just wasn't there yet. You've got to take things at your own pace, so I just started with eliminating 100 bots. I have a couple of routines that I like to do on PCs, so for starters, I moved to the side of the room so I could put all of the bots in front of me, and I just did eliminate 100. And then I did it again, and then I did it again. And then I did some deathmatch, and then I did some more bots, and then I messed with my sensitivity, I messed with my keybinds, and after a bit of time, I started to get the hang of it a bit more. I started working in my movement, my settings started to feel right, and I genuinely started to feel more and more confident in my aim. The funny thing is that it started out feeling kind of hopeless. Like I genuinely didn't understand how people could possibly aim on console. But after a bit, it started to feel a little bit more natural. It still doesn't feel perfect, but it feels passable. And remember, that's what we're shooting for. Your aim needs to be as good as the guys that are shooting at you. So if you're in Platinum, you need Platinum level aim. And if you're Immortal, you need Immortal level aim. This is by far the most important thing that you're going to need to learn to master. But beyond aim, there's actually something super massive that I noticed that is likely costing you 2 to 3 rounds a game. I know this sounds crazy, but it's actually one of the easiest things to fix in the game, and it will instantly increase your win rate if you fix this. In fact, if you do one thing in this video, I recommend that it's you fix this. You guys just suck at planting. All of your spike plants just suck booty cheeks. A good spike plant should be against the wall in a position where your teammates can see it from wherever they're playing. I shouldn't have to inconvenience myself to see if the enemy is on the spike or not. I should be able to see it safely from wherever I'm playing post plant. And the reason that you want it up against the wall is that it covers up around half the radius that the players can defuse from, making it easier to spam if it gets smoked off. Now, I understand why players plant the spike poorly in low elo. Planting behind cover feels safer, but if it's safer to plant there, it's also safer to defuse from there. So the moment that the enemy actually closes the gap and makes it to the spike, you're in a world of trouble. It is worth every bit of it to risk it to get a better plant where you can actually see the spike, and honestly, sometimes if you can't secure a good plant, it's honestly better to just not plant until you can. Not always, but sometimes. But if you're always planting safe, you're literally just throwing rounds away. I lost countless rounds due to bad spike plants, and it's an issue that's so easy to fix. Think about how many of your matches come down to just 1 or 2 rounds. If you lose 1 or 2 rounds a game just due to a bad plant, that easily could have been won if you just planted in a better spot. That could be the difference between you ranking up or not. And of course, that applies to both PC and console players as well. Both versions of the game are obviously very similar, and basically everything in this video is some form could transfer over to PC. However, during this climb, I realized that some things work better on console than others. For example, man, shotguns can be pretty strong. Like, I know Daznarth has been playing Judge only using a controller on PC since like the beginning of time, but like with how hard it is to clear angles on console and how hard it can be to aim, shotguns kind of go crazy hard. And consequently, things like the Sheriff don't seem nearly as good just because it can't be nearly as precise. The Sheriff arguably is one of the best eco weapons in the game on PC, but I just can't be bothered to use it on console. The Bucky is like an extra 50 credits and it goes crazy, and if I really want to go for it, I'll just buy a Stinger. Lastly, the Operator also feels incredibly strong. Jump spotting on console isn't nearly as clean, and it's also a lot harder to be accurate when fighting at ranges using rifles. On PC, if I force the op off the angle, I'm pretty confident that I can hold the angle and have a good chance if they try to reswing it. But on console, I don't feel the same way. For this reason, if you really are looking to climb, it's definitely not a bad idea to pick up the Operator and Outlaw as some of your favorite weapons. Some agents feel stronger than others on console as well. For example, Neon feels pretty crazy. There are players in these lobbies that are genuinely just playing shotgun only Neon, and it almost doesn't feel troll. It's still troll troll, but it almost doesn't feel troll. As mentioned, Cypher also felt incredibly strong, just because it's pretty difficult to deal with his tripwires. However, one of my other mains on PC was Sova, and he didn't feel nearly as good. Sova can be tricky because it's really difficult to hit those precise lineups with your recon darts and shock darts without using a mouse. You can't use the focus mode when you're using these abilities either on console, which makes it even harder. Even piloting his drone felt kind of funky, but I don't think that's necessarily the worst thing in the world. I actually find it kind of cool that there are different metas that could potentially exist between console and PC. But finally, the last thing that we need to talk about in this climb is actually surrender votes. Listen guys, you are giving up way too easy. And what sucks about the interface on console is that it can be kind of slow to vote if you're not paying attention. So before you even realize it, your team might have 4 votes to surrender and the game is over. Here's the thing. Every match is winnable. Honestly, if you're surrendering when your team is down 4 rounds and you have a 4-8 half, you're going to be surrendering a lot of games. Many of the maps are defender-sided as well, and I would argue that there is an inherent advantage to defenders on console as well. It's really difficult to clear angles on console. You can't exactly flick your aim around quickly like you can with a mouse. This makes it so you need to take more gambles on offense, whereas on defense, you can just let the enemy run into you. Comebacks happen all the time in lower ranks because people make a lot of mistakes. The game is very snowbally, so don't give up if you're down a couple of rounds. Utilizing all of these tips with a little bit of practice, I was able to hit Diamond 1 in around 10-ish hours of playing the game. That felt a bit too easy, so this isn't the end of my climb. Admittedly, it wasn't too difficult to hit Diamond, so I don't think it's fair to leave off here and say I've mastered console after about a dozen hours of playing. But I want to master console so I can bring you guys the best guides possible. So if you're thinking of sticking around, be sure to subscribe to see future videos like this one. Alright though guys, before we wrap this up, let me tell you a little bit more about SkillCapped. So we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and we think that is a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a local gym membership guaranteeing that you'll get ripped. Now your gym would go bust if they offered you that, but not us. We've been able to offer this for years because our service really does work. It works so well in fact that we're able to offer by far the largest catalog of premium Valorant guides on the internet. With over 1,000 videos curated into over 50 courses, no one else can compare. Your subscription to SkillCapped also gives you access to both the League of Legends and the World of Warcraft courses as well. So if you've been playing any of War Within like I have, this might be the thing for you. We also offer a direct line of feedback with our coaches in the Discord, so you can get connected with somebody who will help you climb today. So if you guys are interested in really ranking up this act, be sure to check out SkillCapped using the link below for a discount, and I will see you in the next one.